Margarine is good for nothing. Don't use margarine. Fuck margarine.
Fuck margarine.
Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD necessary.
We're the podcast that recaps all episodes of The Big Bang Theory, no spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot,
make yourself a grasshopper, and enjoy the ride.
Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Rob, how's it going?
Doing great. Or should I say mahalo?
Mahalo. Yes, yes.
You could say whatever you want as long as you follow it with mahalo.
Mahalo. Even Leonard says that's a good idea. Mahalo. Thank you. That's a nice touch.
So we are Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along, no PhD necessary. I'm Ryan. I don't know why I said that. I'm Robert.
And I'm Rob.
We're the podcast that is rewatching all episodes of The Big Bang Theory. We're going to recap them and fact check them. If you're interested in following us, we have a Twitter account at TheoreticalPod, and feel free to email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com.
So today we are on episode 4, the Luminous Fish Effect. And this aired on October 15th, 2007. It is directed by Mark Sandowski. Written by Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady. Is that pronounced right? Pretty close.
I think so. Yeah, Chuck Lorre. I think it's
Yeah,
Lorre. I had to YouTube that.
We've just been screwing up the whole time. Oh well.
We've been giving credit to the wrong person.
Oh no. The L's actually silent. It's Ori.
Yeah.
And the telescript was written by David Litt. So yeah. So episode 4, what were your thoughts on it overall to begin with?
Overall, I think I love this episode so much. There was so much food going on, so much food talk, and so much food research. I loved it, and I love Mary Cooper. She is a fucking gem.
She is. She did great in this role too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we get into some interesting stuff here that dynamics that we haven't in other episodes, but we're getting kind of into intelligent design and religion mixing with the science and intelligent approach to nature and, you know, the genius of Leonard and Sheldon. Also, she calls Sheldon Shelly, so for half my notes I call him Shelly. So a lot of good stuff this episode.
Yeah, I can see how he could be an angry child trying to create a death ray if you're being called Shelly your entire life.
Well, first it started off with the nuclear arms, right? But we'll get to that.
Yeah, more on that later. What do you think of this episode?
I liked it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the development. I enjoyed seeing Sheldon put into some uncomfortable predicaments and seeing how he deals with challenges and how he backs away, and he's got an ego complex going on, right? So some interesting character development. I also like that there wasn't a whole lot of Leonard and Penny in this episode, a little bit, but it wasn't dedicated to them. So we're getting some characterization from Sheldon and a little bit of Raj and Howard in there too. Not too much, but a little bit.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I really like that they're kind of taking a small break from the Leonard and Penny relationship and him trying to court her. I really like seeing the other characters and how they interact with each other. And one thing that I love that will be an ongoing thing is the relationship between Penny and Sheldon, because they're so opposite, and it's really fun to watch how they interact.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I mean, the first scene is them going to the grocery store. No, it's after the opening. They go to the grocery store, but she is a very patient woman. She takes him in stride, but you can tell he annoys her. But she's still friends with him, which is admirable, and it's great to see their relationship develop and see where that's going to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like that too.
So yeah, scene one is not the grocery shopping, but Sheldon and Leonard are getting ready in their apartment, getting ready for a dinner for their school, right? Because they have a new headmaster, what's the word? New department head. There we go.
There it is. Yeah.
Just imagine headmaster giving them spankings if they're bad or something. This isn't
Oh
private school.
my.
That's a different Big Bang. So,
Oh, and one, sorry, a little bit more housekeeping. I forgot
sure.
to mention to everyone that if this is the first time that you're listening to us, Ryan has actually never seen The Big Bang Theory before, so this is his first time and his first experience.
Yeah, and you'll notice I have been, well, through the episodes and onward, I'm going to be focusing on the characters and trying to make my own predictions and see where the development goes. And yeah, I really am trying to keep out of the spoilers and figure out what's going to happen. I'm only,
Awesome.
what, almost 15 years too late, but I'm getting to it.
Better late than never. And the nice thing
Exactly.
is that you're able to just kind of plow through it as you want to, since it's all on HBO.
Yeah, I don't have to wait week by week, right?
Nope. Just
Yeah.
every other week, since that's how often we record this podcast.
And, I'm wondering too that I was thinking about this one being or airing on October 15th, and I'm wondering, like, we're going to be watching some of these holiday specials. I'm assuming there's holiday specials. Like at random times, we're going to get to Christmas like on 4th of July, and it's
Yeah, I think it's 2 episodes later after this one. There's one more, then the one after that is the Halloween episode.
uh so we might be a little ways away, but
Yeah, then we'll
interesting.
get into some other stuff. I think, God, I'm blanking. I'm glad we're rewatching this because I don't remember if there's a Thanksgiving one in season one, but I think there's a Christmas one. But you know what? We'll get there.
We'll find out. So the first thing I notice, they're getting ready, and Sheldon is pontificating. He is thinking and brainstorming about time traveling, and
Yep.
if he invents time traveling, he will go back and just give it to himself, so that he won't have to go through the work of time or inventing it. Right?
Yeah, it really takes the pressure off, huh?
Yeah, and I don't think there's an IQ point here, but some interesting discussion because time traveling is all hypothetical, and even if we get into the science, I don't know if humans will ever be able to because we'd have to like decompose into just energy or something. I don't know, maybe. Um, but we do get into the notion of paradoxes, right? And if he invents it and then goes back and gives it to himself, he is changing the course of history and therefore has never invented it, which means he can't go back and give it to himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think about time travel every once in a while as I watch a lot of movies like Back to the Future and Avengers Endgame, and it really makes you wonder if time travel is real, which method is actually the way? Is it linear or is it a cycle
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing where it's like if you can just like go back and change things, or if you can go into the future and change things, or and vice versa, or the Avengers Endgame way, if you go back in time, you're not necessarily going back in time, you're still technically in your present, but that just creates a branch timeline.
Yeah. Which I think I just rewatched Looper, which I think was an excellent movie. Um
Fuck yeah.
right? It's this good movie, great
That's so
sci-fi.
good. Oh man.
And they basically go with branch timeline theory, right? That it doesn't repeat itself, that you just keep going and things change and alternate. And, you know, uh, I think as far as stories go, I like that approach because it gives us hope. It gives us, yeah, hope that we can change and that we can change the world and we can make it a better place. I guess we can make it a worse place too, but definitely if things are cyclical, then what is will always be. And yeah, there is no hope. We should just give up, right? There's no change.
Yeah, I didn't do any research on time travel. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
but
I spent all my research on food
on
on this
food,
one.
okay, we can get to the
I
food.
can't.
I was just gonna say with this that Sheldon's Leonard first goes, congratulations are in order, congrats are in order, and Sheldon says congrats will have been in order, and
Because it
very
would
very
already have been done.
yeah. But I think that they're both wrong. I would have said congrats will need to be in order because he hasn't invented it yet. But once he has, then he will. But at this point in time, giving any congratulations will be future tense, right?
Hmm.
So I don't
Well, you
know.
know, well, I guess they're scientists and not English students.
That's true. They're not doctors in English.
Yeah, they have a PhD in physics, not in English,
And I don't even have a PhD.
and yet we're fact checking them.
Yeah. Well, my dad did just give me 2 books on grammar, so I feel like I know everything now. Books like published in the 70s, they're great. Very, very difficult to read, though. So
Well,
they
that's
go
actually
on.
printed. It's not the. It's not like it's the school of YouTube.
Yeah, it's not YouTube. It's not Purdue's online writing website. This stuff is hardcore 70s print, yellow pages. They're kind of brittle, falling apart.
Oh my.
Oh, times have changed. So they go on to the party, and we
Well,
have.
before we get to the party,
Oh yeah, I missed
one
something.
thing, one thing that I caught was that they're talking about Professor Finkelday
Finkel
and
Day.
how Finkelday, yeah, and
Mhm.
Sheldon doesn't want to get cornered by him because he's going to talk about spelunking. What's cool about caves? Nothing, apparently.
Caves
But
are
then I
not
was doing
interesting.
a, except they are. Caves are
Right?
awesome. It sounds like Professor Finkelday is like the cool professor in the university, but because he's not like a boring stiff, Sheldon doesn't take him serious. He's like
Mhm.
that cool professor that rides a motorcycle, that wears a leather jacket, that hangs out with his students. And that's why Sheldon doesn't respect him.
I was gonna
You
say,
don't know, you don't have enough elbow patches, Finkelday.
Finkel Day. I just love that name too, and we find out that the head of the department is oh, what's his name? It took
Eric
me a
Gablehauser.
Gableheiser. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Finkel Day's name more, and for some reason I was thinking Finkel Day was the head, but then I realized after watching it a little bit more that oh no, they are separate. But if there's nothing interesting about caves, I feel like Minecraft would not have been a popular game.
I've never played Minecraft.
Oh no. It's great. You
I'm a
know,
huge disappointment.
yeah. We're done with the show now.
Oh yeah, just shut it down. Fuck it all. Friendship over.
Done and done. Escape. Yeah, Minecraft is basically you dig holes, break into caves, and mine ore to build better armor and weapons and stuff. And every time, I played back in the beta days, like a decade ago, where there was no purpose to the game except to just mess around and build stuff. And every time I got to a new cave, I'm like, new cave, awesome. What will I find? And nothing. Maybe a little ore here and there, but it's not like secrets of the universe are going to be unraveled. But it's still fun finding a cave and exploring. Where does this go? Why does it go there?
So
So
in
I
a sense, you're virtually spelunking
exactly. We are all Finkel days in the world that is Minecraft.
because I looked into what spelunking really is because I've heard the term before, and like I really don't know. I've heard it and I knew it had to do. I was related to caves, but spelunking. It's the cool version of wandering around caves. It's the enjoyment and adrenaline rush of going through caves, basically as a hobby. Whereas if you were exploring it for academic purposes, it would be called caving.
Oh. So it's not Finkelday isn't even doing it scholarly. He's doing it just for
Nope,
fun.
he's just yep, he's the cool professor, I'm telling you.
And I've talked to people who've what's the past tense? Spelunked. Uh explored caves and like it gets into some like interesting body maneuvering. Like you go through tight spaces and have to squeeze yourself through. That would terrify me. I like walking through caves, but actually pulling myself through or contorting my body so that I can like move my hips or shoulders into a position that squeak through, that terrifies me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely not maneuverable enough to do any of that kind of stuff. I'll
Right.
walk all day. I'll just walk that cave.
I'm going to say walking's a little bit of a challenge for me, so I have enough adrenaline right there. If I don't fall down, I'm happy.
They're at the party now.
Oh, first, this is where
Yep.
Sheldon says mahalo after he makes
Oh
fun of
yeah.
all of the heads. Well, it turns out the head, he does some research, but Sheldon says that he hasn't done real research, sophisticated research, and that he's known for popular books, which made the distinction not popular fiction, just popular books, right?
Yeah,
So
he Sheldon said that he hasn't conducted original research in 25 years, and basically he dumbs down the topic.
yeah, and that I can appreciate a book that's dumbed down. Since I don't have a PhD, but Sheldon is definitely looking down on him for that.
I mean, there's a whole series dedicated to that. It's the Idiot's Guide.
Right?
The Idiot's Guide to something. The Idiot's Guide to Spelunking. The Idiot's Guide to Physics.
And I love those books for a reason. So, and that's where he says mahalo. And
Yep.
cut to next scene, they
Mahalo.
are at the party. And at the party, they are at a buffet, and I feel like
Oh, actually, I missed an IQ point. Sheldon says mahalo, and they continue down the stairs, and and here's our one of our IQ points. He says that there are only 8 consonants in the Hawaiian language. So that's true. There are 8 consonants, and there are 5 short and long vowels. And this is part of the original Hawaiian language, not to be confused with what's like the mainstream language right now, which is Pidgin.
huh?
So this is Oleo Hawaii is one of the original languages of Hawaii, and that's what he's talking about. You might be wondering, 8 consonants, five vowels. What does that? I mean, how does that compare to other languages? Well, I looked at the English language, and we have 21 consonants and 5 vowels, just to kind of compare. I'm
There's
an
quite a
English
few
guy, so I
more.
didn't really, yeah, I didn't really dive into like what the purpose of all those were. I wasn't sure if you knew, being an English guy, but
No, they save that for doctorates. Getting a master's, we don't learn that quite yet.
all right. But now we're at the party.
Now we're at the party. Interesting. And there is a buffet of food, and I feel like Raj gets two kind of awkward moments in here where Leonard, well, later on with Sheldon's mom, but I hear he goes, "Don't you have buffets?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it's not American food. I want bagels, right?"
Yeah, he says that they have lots of buffets in India, but they're all Indian food, which I
Yeah,
guess you could be a little jaded with that if you grew up there. It's kind of like we grew up in America, so we're a little jaded of American buffets.
and
Or are
dude,
we?
what are American buffets? I mean, I don't feel like I don't know, like macaroni salads and maybe like barbecue or hamburgers. Like, what is a true American buffet?
Well, in this case, I paused it and I looked at what was on the spread.
Woohoo!
There was a veggie tray that had peppers, cherry tomatoes, cucumber, broccoli, cauliflower, and what I'm guessing is ranch. There was a fruit platter with grapes, watermelon, cantaloupe, strawberries, and what looks like pineapple. It was a little on the blurry side. They had chocolate cake, a cookie platter, and a plate of cinnamon rolls, but they didn't have glaze on it. So it was a little disappointing that I could see the spiral and you could see the cinnamon spiral, but they didn't have a glaze on it. It's like that's a waste. And there was a plate of egg souffles, kind of like mini quiches or something, and then
uh,
bagels. Then there was like this second veggie tray that looked like it was the bagel toppings, looked like cream cheese, and then but oddly enough, for a bagel spread, it had onions, cucumber, and tomato. It's like who puts that on their bagels?
unless it's like a bagel sandwich, but you would need some sort of meat, right?
There might have been salmon, but I didn't see it on the
It's,
spread,
huh.
like lox or something. So I was like, huh, that's a very interesting spread that they have.
I feel like it's kind of a disappointment. I mean, cinnamon rolls with no icing, bagels with tomatoes. Huh. But yeah,
So I'm just gonna tell the audience right now, if you like food, I don't care if you like it or not, because every time there's a scene with food, I'm going to research the hell out of it.
you know,
So Raj also, like, he makes a comment about that there isn't a good bagel in Mumbai. And that may be true in 2007 when this was recorded. I'm not really sure. But I hopped on TripAdvisor to see if there's any bagel shops in Mumbai right now. And there actually are quite a few of them. So, well, according to TripAdvisor, the top five are places called The Nutcracker, Cafe Moishes, The Rolling Pin, The Bagel Shop, and Bagel Shop. And
the
they're
bagel shop
unaffiliated.
and
There's
bagel shop. Oh
yeah.
my.
So I guess he'd have to jump through time and go to these bagel shops because these might not be available back in 2007.
Did you see any rankings on them? Because technically there can be a bagel shop, but if they have garbage, I don't know if it counts.
Well, it was the top five in TripAdvisor. So I mean, like based off the stars, they're all like 4.5.
Huh, I think that
So
counts.
yeah,
That counts. Are you
yeah.
a bagel fan?
I wasn't until recently. Growing up, I always had like the store bought ones in like the plastic bag and everything, like
Yeah.
the non quality ones. But then once I met my now wife, she's really into dining out, really going into cafes. She loves Panera. She brought me to Panera and love bagels now. Like when you get a good quality bagel from like a bakery and not from the store, huge difference. Like you don't even have to toast it. You could just split it in half, add some cream cheese, and just enjoy.
Shove it in your mouth and let it like digest in there, like rah, rah,
Yeah.
rah.
Yeah, good. Like, hey, if you only grew up on the like the Costco bagels or just the store bought bagels in the
Walmart
bread
6
aisle,
to a bag.
open up your world and go to like Einstein Bagel, go to Panera, or if you're listening in New York, I'm sure there's bagel shops all over the place, but most places aren't like New York and have bagel shops. You got to go to a chain.
You have to find one somewhere. I was thinking the first time I had a bagel, my parents told me it was a donut, and it was not a donut. And I had a strong resentment towards bagels for a long, long time.
Were they confused or were they playing a prank on you? Are they evil parents?
I would lean towards the evil parent side. It was a prank, but nobody was laughing, so I don't know. It was
Oh, I feel so bad for you. Wait, so have you had a good bagel now?
I think my favorite has been Einstein Bagels in Texas. I'm used to only chains. I'm not used to going to like a bagel bakery, the bagel shop, or bagel shop. I've been to Einstein's Bagels. But yeah, I do enjoy them. If I'm looking for a donut, they do not satisfy me. But in terms of doughy
It's all about
goodness,
expectations, isn't it?
exactly. If you're expecting a sweet, wonderful donut, you will be let down.
Oh man, I can't. Oh, you got me thinking about donuts now.
Oh, donuts. Don't they make somewhere like a what is it, cronut or something, where it's like a bagel and a donut or something?
A cronut is a croissant and
Oh,
a donut,
croissant donut.
and those are amazing.
I've never had one
They're
of those
so
yet.
they're very rare to find. Not a lot of bakeries do them, but if you find them, you get one because it has the flare like the layered flakiness of a croissant, but it's deep fried like a donut, so it's crispy on the outside, just kind of flaky and soft on the inside. It's like, oh fuck.
Is it sweet? Is it on the sweeter side, or are they more like
Yeah,
a?
the ones that I've had are still like kind of glazed on the outside, so it has that
Oh,
sweetness to it. But it's
oh.
not like sugar is not really ingrained in the dough.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys can't tell, I really love food.
Food is
If I
good.
could, if I could slowly turn this into a food podcast, I will.
Wait, didn't we talk about Big Bang Theory at one time? No, I don't remember
No,
that.
cronuts.
Cronuts. All cronuts all the time. So we move off the buffet, and Howard comes in with an escort, right? So
What up,
romantic
science
Howard.
bitches? Yep.
And he tries to put his hand on her, and she goes, "We talked about this. Touching is extra."
Yikes, Howard.
Yikes! Yeah, I like how she says that. Like, it's extra, but also had they talked about it, she probably wouldn't have done it at all. Like, even though it's extra, she'd probably be like, "No, never mind. It's not worth the money." She does not want to be there. But Howard is Howard, so. And I feel like this is less creepy than how Howard has been in other episodes, so I'm okay with him bringing an escort.
It's very on character with him.
On character, and it's nothing that he's going to have to bring up his sexual assault law experience, right? What was it?
His criminal case about getting
Sexual harassment law. There we go. Sexual harassment
Yep.
law. Why do
Well,
you
he
know
knows all
about
the
that,
laws,
Howard?
and well, he might get pepper sprayed later, since we
Yeah.
know that he's used to that.
That's how love ends, either being pepper sprayed or in each other's arms. I think he said. Sheldon says that the new head, Gable House, Gable House, Gable House,
Gable Hauser.
Gable Hauser. I couldn't see how they were. I didn't understand how they were pronouncing it, so I actually had to pause the captions later on and write down how it was spelled. So I'm going to screw that up for, well, probably the rest of the show, but at least this episode. But yeah, he claims that Abel Hauser is not a real actual scientist again, right? They get
Yeah,
into a kind of fight.
Sheldon introduces himself as a real scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut to a different scene where we learn that Sheldon got fired.
He's bringing up his box up the stairs of all his stuff from work, and mentions that the conversation got even worse after what we saw, right?
Yeah, he said that Gable Hauser is a glorified science professor whose last success was lighting his own farts.
Yeah, sliding his own farts. So,
But he
yeah,
premised it by saying, with all due respect.
with all due respect, so it should be all right. But Gable Hauser
Yeah,
was
you
not
should be
okay
able to
with
say
that.
whatever you want. Ryan, with all due respect, you're an asshole.
Well,
So,
I don't like food.
friendship over. You didn't premise by saying with all due respect.
Oh no! I love food. Don't get me wrong. I was a lie. I take it all back. I love my cronuts and donuts, and I love my bagels.
I forgive you. It's okay.
We're friends again.
I still love you. Don't worry, we're friends. So this got me into a spiral about people lighting their own farts.
Oh,
I bet I am gonna have like the weirdest ads coming up on my Google searches. But I've seen it. I've never done it, but I wanted to research a little bit about lighting your own farts. So I found this article on The Thrillist, and this is what it had to say. So, the air coming out of your fart is predominantly comprised of hydrogen and nitrogen. There's also carbon dioxide and potentially a small amount of methane and oxygen. Additionally, a very small but potent amount of hydrogen sulfide is present, which gives it the rotten egg smell if you ever fart and smell that. So,
no,
of
I've
these
never had that
components,
happen.
oh, never. You're perfect. I don't even know what a fart is.
Yeah.
So of all those components, the hydrogen, hydrogen sulfide, and methane can all be set on fire. So according to research, I wanted to know how lethal this is. So according to research, about 25% of people that have lit their own farts have hurt themselves. But that's hurting themselves because like it could fly back and catch them on fire, or it could actually like if you're not wearing anything and there's no barrier, the flame can actually follow you up your butt into your intestines.
I feel
And
like I've heard that and always assumed it was an urban legend.
according to the Thrillist, I kind of just stopped because I was going on a really weird spiral. And but I tried to find out if there was any documentation of people dying from lighting their own farts, and I couldn't find any documentation of that. So according to science, nothing reported. But then it got me down this weird spiral about how people have died from farting. And
Oh no!
it brought me to the article, "The Fart That Killed 10,000 People." And this,
Whoa!
I'm just going to summarize it, but if you're interested, feel free to Google it and have a really weird search history. But it was back in ancient Greek times where there was like this party with a bunch of people where like these two like countries were getting together, and one person inappropriately farted as a means of like disrespect. Like he did it purposefully to disrespect
uh,
someone, and it caused a fight, and 10,000 people ended up dying in that fight.
so we got like it's
So
kind of like a "I bite my thumb at you, sir" type thing. We're flipping
yeah.
him off, but I
And then I
got you.
found some other, there's some other weird deaths on A Thousand Ways to Die. There's that TV show A Thousand Ways to Die where it's pretty disgusting, so I'm not going to get into it, but everyone please fart responsibly.
Be careful. It's a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
We're at scene 3. It's the next morning, and Sheldon is making. Well, it seems he's making breakfast, but apparently he's doing an experiment with eggs, trying to separate water molecules from the egg proteins. I'm
And its
curious,
effect on taste.
and its effect on taste. He's trying to make scrambled eggs better for everybody, right?
Yep, and he's very enthusiastic about this, which I love. And Sheldon says that he's looking forward to his tests on bacon.
Yeah, and so yeah, Leonard and Sheldon are both excited about the bacon test. But
Yep,
I'm curious, what did you take it to mean? Separate the water molecules from the egg proteins.
I think it's just cooking, because cooking is just a series of basically removing the water from product and removing the bacteria and the moisture from the food. So it's basically
Mm,
what cooking, pretty much what cooking is you heat an ingredient up to a certain point, which the liquid removes itself out of it.
mm. Because I was thinking when you said remove the water, I did a little research and found that eggs are 90% water and 10% protein. And my first thing I think of is that removing water would be freeze drying. And it's definitely not freeze drying, but it's the process of basically flash freezing a food and sucking the water out of the food, out of the area, in basically a vacuum like state, right? And this is how we get like astronaut food or space food and camping food, dehydrated, well, not dehydrated, freeze dried strawberries and stuff. Um, but I found that you can get freeze dried eggs online, and on average, they're about $2 an ounce.
Oh, I wonder how they taste. I've never had that
Uh,
before.
I
Have you
have
had it before?
once, yes, on a camping trip, and all you do is basically do some boiling water, pour the water into the bag, and kind of mash it up, and you got scrambled eggs.
Nice.
And they're not as good as like homemade or regular scrambled eggs, but when you're camping or if you're starving, like they are, as far as freeze dried food goes, I give it as like one of my top 3. The other 2 are ice cream, so
I guess an egg can't beat ice cream.
yeah, it is never going to be ice cream, and a bagel can never be a donut. So, but
Well,
yeah,
if Sheldon actually did pursue this, he'd have quite the career, because like these days there actually are a lot of websites and blogs dedicated to this exact thing that he's doing, testing food to find the best method of cooking for the highest quality. So a couple articles I'd like to share that I follow a lot. There's thekitchen.com. That's kitchen without the E at the end. So kitchn.com. And then there's also America's Test Kitchen. And if you're interested in a very thick book, there's a book called Food Lab by Kenji Alt Lopez that is amazing. If you're interested in food science, this book is incredible. That's
what
all I
are
got.
some of the top ways they talk about cooking?
So the book, well, if we go to like the articles, they actually talk about like bacon was actually a great example of what they've done, where they tested out cooking an assortment of bacon in different methods and what they liked the best and what each one did. So you could You could put it on a grill if you wanted to. Granted, don't do that because of the fat rendering. For all you people out there, do not grill your bacon. But you could put it on a skillet. You could put it in the oven. You could put it like the air fryer. You could add on the skillet. You could add a little bit of water to it. Like there's all these different methods of cooking and what it does and its effects. So that's
Interesting.
yeah, I find stuff like that fascinating just because I want to know what the best way is because when I eat, I want to make I want to make sure that the calories count.
How do you cook your bacon?
I'm kind of lazy and I just bake it. I like to bake it.
That's
It
what I
just
do too.
I could do a lot more at the same time and I
Hmm.
find that it crisps it up really nice and I like my bacon a little bit more overcooked, so it's almost like crumbly. Like I'm
Yeah.
not really into chewy soft bacon. I know a lot of people are, but I like it I like to you pick it up and there's fear of it shattering.
Hmm.
That's where I'm
And
at with bacon.
it's kind of brittle and breaks in your mouth, very very crispy.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
also nice because it does render out a lot of the fat too.
Mm.
And then you take that fat and then you cook your eggs in it.
Oh yeah, Sheldon, that's how you do it.
Ex- Science over. You
Yeah.
done.
So Leonard says that he should go apologize for his behavior the night before, and Sheldon says, "No, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm perfectly fine. This is my first day off in forever." Right? That he went to his grad school, his doctorate program. He went to undergrad, and before that, he was in fifth grade. And so he's been going to school his whole life and still pretty young, and decides that now he's going to take some time off to find himself and do experiments, and finally takes a bite of the eggs and realizes they are past their expiration.
Did you look into how to tell if your eggs are fresh?
I've heard some theories, but I didn't look up how accurate they are.
So, how you can tell if your eggs are fresh or not is you fill up a bowl with water, place the eggs in it, and fresh eggs will sink to the bottom. If it's bad, it'll float. I don't know why, didn't look into the science, but that's how you do it.
There's somebody told me at one point, and I've done it before because I've had eggs. I'm like, I am. These are questionable, and they all sunk, so they were all good. I've never eaten a bad egg. But you'd think
Let's
that,
pray you don't.
yeah, it seems like that would be a bad experience. And Penny comes over and asks if he wants to go to, or no, asks if he needs anything from the store. And of course he does. He needs more eggs. He needs better eggs. So he starts listing all the types of eggs: cage free, organic, brown eggs, jumbo eggs. He's like, never mind, I'll just go with you. You'll get it wrong.
So, I did a little bit of research on the different eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you really wanted to make this a great experience, he totally forgot organic, cage free, and pasteurized.
Oh, for some reason, I thought he had cage free in there, but I just assumed.
He said free range.
Free range, there we go.
Yeah. So the difference between all these, like, sorry guys, I love food so much, I
Food
can't not
time.
do food research. So the difference between all of these eggs, if in case you're wondering, and if you get passionate about your food, so he mentioned free range. Free range eggs come. Oh, and just to let you know that all of these are USDA terms. So this is defined by the United States government. So a
I
lot of
trust
them are a
them.
little ass backwards. Well, should we? So free range. Free range are eggs that come from hens that have some sort of access to the outdoors. However, it doesn't mean that the hens go outdoors. It doesn't even refer to the size of the space, just that a door exists and it's open at some point. So that is free range because they're free to kind of go outside into the area. Doesn't mean that they always do. That's where they get you because all the food is all in a centralized area. So it's kind of a pointless term.
Do we have a guarantee that they can even fit through the door?
No, I don't know. It just says a door exists.
There's a door. It's not our
Yeah.
responsibility to get the chicken
Yeah.
through it.
Next up is cage free, and cage free are hens that are not caged and can roam free with unlimited food and water, but most likely indoors. And apparently, this is kind of bad because they're in these situations. There's actually a lot of reported hen on hen violence and poor air quality. So it's basically they're not in cages, but they're still indoors. They're still in this like area that has like a cover, a roof over it. So the air quality is bad. They're crammed in there. Just because they're not in cages, they're still being like they're still like feather to feather. So then they kind of get on each other's nerves and they fight, and it's a poor environment. So cage
Hen on
free,
hen violence is terrible.
it's still not great. So then I looked into pasteurized, and pasteurized is not a term regulated by the USDA. It means that each hen was given 108 square feet of outdoor space as well as barn space indoors. This is pretty much as close to the farm vibe you'll get with dealing with large scale egg producers. So if you're looking to support those practices, keep a lookout for like labels like that. And then the last one is organic. The only stipulation is that they must come from hens who are fed an organic diet. So an egg is not organic unless the food that the hen eats is organic.
Mm.
So, amount of space per hen, access to the outdoors, neither of those are specified or required, though many organic eggs are also at least free range. So, it's kind of one of those things like they have definitions, they mean something, but the farmer doesn't, they're loopholes. So,
Yeah.
just because you're buying free range or cage free or organic, it doesn't mean that the hens are being humanely treated.
Does this, in your research, impact the taste of the eggs,
I
or is it
will say
more
just
ethical?
I will say, based off experience, organic and free range has always tasted best to me.
And from my own experience, I've found that the difference between white eggs and brown eggs is just the color. That one day a hen might produce a white egg, and another day a brown egg.
Yeah, I think I saw that too, but I didn't dive into that.
I was when I back in Nebraska where I used to live. I had a friend who had hens, and again, hen on hen violence. It's brutal. Even when they have lots of space, they pick each other's feathers until they're all naked. But he would pick up their eggs every day, and I'd be like, "Which ones are which? Why are they white and brown?" He's like, "I don't know. They all just kind of lay whatever they want to lay." So technically, if you like brown eggs, white eggs, pretty much the same thing.
Good to know.
So they are in no Penny's over, and Sheldon's kind of like this coincidence, but if you understand the laws of large numbers, maybe it's not so surprising. When you're doing research, a study, you will have variables, or not variables, but outliers, right? Every now and then you'll get somebody's one result that's completely off the graph, and like, for some reason something went wrong. But as you get larger numbers for your research, those will impact the average less and less. So if you have 10 students, or yeah, 10, you ask 10 people their favorite food, and 9 say pizza and 1 says ice cream, then 10% of the people hate pizza or don't like pizza, right? However, if you ask 100 people and 99% say pizza and only 1 says ice cream, you start to see that even more people like pizza, and that the ice cream response was just kind of a random fluke, and it doesn't impact the average as much. Math. Yeah, so I'm not that great at math, but that's the way I understood it. That the random responses impact it less and less. So basically, that at some point, Penny is going to come over and be asking exactly what Sheldon needs, right?
Yeah, if you're given a
Enough
large
times.
number, yeah, if you give it enough times, if you give her enough days or years, it was bound to happen.
And I'm guessing most of the time she comes over and he has no purpose for her, which is what he's talking about. And so they get in the car and they're driving, and he goes, what does he say? He's taking a break from work, and she goes, "You got canned." She picks up right away that
Yep.
he was fired. And
He was trying to say it in a very tactful way, but ultimately he got canned.
Yeah, and she goes, when one door closes and now they're opens, and I like this line because it goes with again that philosophical. Is it predestined or is it free choice, free will? Uh, is there a higher power or is everything science based? And Penny's like, you have to have faith that things are going to get better. And Sheldon's like, no, that's impossible, right? He's taking it literally and does not accept that another door will open unless the two doors are somehow connected or there's like a breeze or something.
Taking it way too literal.
Way too literal. And then he tells Penny to slow down and that they are going to end up in the back of another car if she does not, because she does not have enough space to slow down.
Yeah, I like that they're starting to calculate. Sheldon starts calculating the weights of the car and them, and Penny gets offended. And Sheldon asks, "Is your body mass connected to your self worth?" I love Penny's response. It's like, "Well, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
It's like that with everyone."
And Sheldon's like, oh, okay. And so I started doing the math on this, but finally said, I don't know. I don't know enough about math or cars.
I know I didn't do that much research on this just because from driver's ed they always taught you the 2 second and the 4 second rule. If you're
Yes.
driving through the city, it's a 2 seconds. Like, so you're supposed to watch the car ahead of you, or at least find some sort of landmark, and then you're supposed to count the seconds until you pass it. And that's kind of like the general rule. So it's 2 seconds in the city and 4 seconds on the highway. But
And
then
when I,
it. Oh, sorry.
oh, go for it. Go for it.
I was going to say, if you want to do the math, I know I do this a lot. It's distance. If you're calculating the distance between you, it's distance equals rate times time.
Mm.
That's I thank you, high school.
Thank you,
That's all
high
I
school.
got.
It's the only thing I remember. The one thing I got through high school.
If a train leaves Delaware at 10 o'clock.
Dun, dun, dun. Will they get to the bagel shop in time? I was thinking, my car, I just got a car. Oh, it's been almost 2 years now, but it has cruise control, automatic cruise control, and it paces itself with traffic. And its default setting is pretty much the 4 second rule. And 4 seconds is actually quite a bit of space. It is a safe space. But most people assume it's me going extra slow, and meaning there's plenty of room for them to merge into my area. So as I'm driving and on cruise control, people keep cutting me off, and then that causes my car to brake and go slower. And then somebody's like, "Oh, he's going even slower," and then they brake, and I find myself going like in a 60. Eventually, I'm going like 40 because people keep pulling in between that 4 second gap, and I'm like, "Huh." I don't think people learned driver's ed as much as I did, or something.
Nope. These days, people are just asshole drivers.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They really like to tail you. Nobody signals. One of my biggest pet peeves, please just signal. It's safe. It just makes it safer for everyone to just know exactly where you're going.
Right? Even when you think no one's watching, like I was walking my dog the other day and a guy turned with no signal, and I'm like, if I had been crossing because you didn't have your signal on, you could have hit us, and that's because all you had to do was flip your signal, and you decided, nope, I don't care enough. But I make my dog sit and look both ways before he crossed the street, so we were safe.
Oh, that's cute.
And so, anyways, they quickly get off the topic of speeding because Sheldon sees Putt Putt.
Yep.
New Putt Putt place is going to open. And I like that. I do love Putt Putt. And then they appear at the grocery store and they get into the conversation of, well, the first thing I picked up was refrigerated versus non-refrigerated eggs. Back to the eggs. And I knew a little bit about this, but looked it up a little bit more again. But the US refrigerates their eggs. Most of the world does not. Have you heard about this?
I've kind of heard about this, but I'll let you
All
take the
right.
lead on this one.
So it all comes down to health and safety and the notion that Uh, when hens lay eggs, they can pass on diseases and salmonella and different bad stuff, bacteria. And the US handled this contamination with the notion that if we wash the eggs, we can get rid of some of that bacteria and people will be safer. However, when you wash the eggs, it takes away this thin membrane, the cuticle, uh, that protects the egg from bacteria and from oxygen and other things. And so when you take that off, you have to put it in the refrigerator or bacteria will consume it and it'll go bad more quickly. In most countries around the world, they do not wash them like that. They do not remove that outer layer. And that way, the egg is basically a self contained entity, pre wrapped, and it might have bacteria on it, but you don't have to refrigerate it, and more bacteria is not going to build up on it because it's got that protective coating.
Yeah, that does like it jogs my memory a little bit. My wife grew up with chickens too, and she said that they never washed them and they didn't refrigerate them, and that explains why.
It kind of freaks you out the first time you see eggs are sitting like on the counter, like, what? Or if you're in another country and you like pass by like a loaf of bread and then you're like in the egg section just in an aisle, like those should be in the refrigerator. Apparently not, but freaked me out.
Yeah, I've heard that USDA guidelines are a lot stricter than the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So what I picked up out of this is that eggs are refrigerated, and Sheldon made a comment that they're don't you know you're supposed to get your refrigerated items last, and that's because you want your cold foods to stay out of the danger zone. So, for anybody out there that isn't familiar with food safety and the danger zone is when the item is between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if it's out of the refrigerator and it's something that needs to be refrigerated, or just most food items in general need to stay out of the danger zone as long as possible. It can't be out for more than 2 hours, or if the food is above 90 degrees, it shouldn't be out for more than 1 hour. And that's what they kind of teach you with food, with safe food handling. So if you're trying to get your health card, or what's it called, your food permit card, your
Food permit, health health and
yeah,
safety, something.
yeah, they teach you this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Like if you ever want to work in like a restaurant or anything like that, you need to learn this kind of stuff. But that's kind of what I thought Sheldon was referring to.
Yes, he is talking about refrigerated good, and it's interesting too that we always put them like in the dairy section, but I had to fight with friends like in school, in elementary school, middle school, high school, that eggs are not dairy. They are meat and protein, right?
Yeah, there's no dairy allergen in it,
No
but there
dairies, no
are
lactose.
there is a separate egg allergy though these days.
Yes. All right. So
But
then they
oh,
switched from the refrigerated foods into tomatoes.
is it a vegetable or a fruit?
It's definitely a fruit.
Yep, because a fruit develops from the flower of the plant, while other parts of the plant are categorized as vegetables. Fruits contain seeds, while vegetables consist of roots, stems, and leaves.
Yes. I always heard it was because they had seeds in them, and I think that's one point that makes it a fruit. But definitely the number one issue or answer I came up was develops and is fertilized by the ovary of the flower. Not it is not part of the plant. It is a part of the flower that gets produced.
Oh, way
So I
more
guess that is part
scientific
of it.
than my explanation.
Right. Thank you. I believe that was nationalgeographic.com.
Well, I wanted to go a little bit more into grocery store layout tactics. How
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon was like concerned about like going in certain areas and picking up the eggs all the way in the back of the store. It's refrigerated, how you have to go there at the end and everything. And grocery stores have specific layouts for a specific reason. They're lay if you go to any chain grocery store, you'll notice that they're all in the same layout, and there's a reason why. So the moment you enter, it's the produce section. and that activates your senses and stimulates you. There's the floral department right next to it, and all these items have they're floral, they have pleasant aromas and bright colors. So as soon as you enter, it's supposed to activate all those senses, and it's supposed to kind of brighten you up and make you a little happier to be there. And then if you're happier to be there, you're more likely to stay there longer to like shop and everything. The dairy department is always in the back of the store because more often than not, people will just need to go in to grab milk or eggs, something small. So it's done on purpose because it makes them wander to all the way to the back of the store and go through all the different aisles, and they could wander through the same aisles and grab stuff on the way out. And also, the most expensive items are always eye level. All the brand name stuff are about eye level because that's where people are going to see first. And the cheaper generic brands are either on the top or the bottom. And shelves usually have brighter, more fun and animated characters on the bottom because of children. They're that eye level, so it'll make them want that.
Call out to
So
the
the next time,
kids.
yeah, next time you go to the grocery store, take a look at that.
I was gonna say I was at Fred Meyer the other day, and at least the one near me is set up very similarly, but also has some very strange layouts. And found myself trapped in the alcohol section. Like it is separated from the rest of the store, and like it's in the back of the store, but it's got like a U-shaped aisle that if you go into it, it turns into a dead end. And I don't know. I was like, I guess I'm not getting out of the store today. It's me and the alcohol. So I don't know what that says about where I live or their layouts, but I was scared for a little bit. Well, at least I had booze to keep me company. So.
It's one constant circle that make you loop back and forth, and like, I guess I'll just buy this.
Oh, I'll buy more beer. Okay.
I thought I saw this earlier. I guess I'll buy more.
Well, it's a sign. I need more of it. They sell more beer that way. So then they get into the discussion of vitamins and whether or not vitamins are just for expensive urine.
And from my research and talking to all my doctors during physicals, Sheldon's kind of right.
That's been my experience too.
Yeah, because the human can only absorb so many nutrients at one time, so there's kind of no point.
Unless you have
Uh,
like a deficiency, which might be a different indicator, but talk to your doctor about that. But if
yeah,
you don't have a
again, no
deficiency,
PhD here. Don't
no
take our advice.
PhDs. We don't understand the
Yeah,
math or anything.
yeah, it's always recommended. They always say just eat a rainbow each day, but on the American diet, you never eat a rainbow. You never get all the different colors of vegetables and fruits, so you're kind of forced into a position where you need at least a multivitamin.
That's a good point.
I mean, I try to eat salads and but I never get the whole spectrum of a rainbow. It's more just
Mm-hmm.
green, green, green. Oh, cherry tomato, red.
One cherry tomato.
Yep.
That's my cherry
One
tomato of
single
the
cherry
day.
tomato. Yep. It's not even
Is
a
that enough
vegetable,
red?
it's a fruit.
What are you doing in my salad, tomato?
But then he ends this by saying, "Oh, well, if that's the case, you'll need some manganese." And I'm wondering why he chose manganese out of all
Yeah,
the other vitamins and nutrients. So I looked into manganese and what it does. So manganese contributes to many bodily functions, including the metabolism of amino acids, cholesterol, glucose, and carbohydrates. It also plays a role in bone formation, blood clotting, and reducing inflammation, according to WebMD. The body cannot produce manganese, but it can store it in the liver, pancreas, bones, kidneys, and brain. A person usually obtains manganese from their diet. So if you're deficient in manganese, here is how you can get it: raw pineapple and pineapple juice, pinto beans, pecans, lima beans, spinach, navy beans, black and green teas, sweet potato, almonds, instant oatmeal, raisin bran, whole wheat bread, peanuts, and brown rice, according to the internet. And again, according to the internet, 37% of Americans do not get enough manganese, which got me even wondering even more what the most deficient vitamin is in America. And according to medicinenet.com, the top vitamin deficiencies in America are. Do you want to take a couple? Do you want to
Drum
take a couple
roll.
guesses? I'll
uh,
let you guess.
let's see. I want to say potassium.
Because everybody talks about bananas and stuff like that, how you need to get your bananas and stuff and get your
Yeah,
potassium.
and technically bananas don't even have that much potassium. Like a sweet potato has more.
And apparently, two kiwis have more potassium than one banana, too.
Yeah, so
So,
it's
in
like
terms of
this
mass, it's like, yeah. But
doesn't make
no,
sense
potassium
why.
is not on that list.
Oh
The
no.
top deficiencies in America are, again, according to medicinenet.com, are vitamin D, folic acid, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12. I can understand the vitamin D because nowadays, like, nobody goes outside.
Yeah.
Everybody's just staying inside, Netflix and chilling.
Yeah. Well, the sun's dangerous and it hurts. So
Well, I checked my I take a multivitamin again because not a doctor. It's just my preference, and I feel better. I noticed that I just when I don't take vitamins, I'm definitely a little bit more groggy. I definitely don't feel as like chipper. So I just take it. May
you
work, may
know,
not. Maybe it's a placebo. I don't know.
and
But
there's
I
something to be
checked
said
my.
about
Oh, sorry.
placebo. If placebo effect is working, then it's worth the money for the placebo effect because it's still working, right?
Honestly,
So,
yeah, there's something to that. But I do Kirkland brand since I'm a Costco member, and I looked at how much manganese is in the Kirkland brand one, and there is 100 milligrams, which is 24% of the daily value. So technically, I'm still short. I am
wow.
short on manganese.
Eat some more spinach and pineapple.
Yep. Get some peanuts, some raisin bran. Maybe I'll have a better bowel movement.
Nothing wrong with that. So they leave the store, and Sheldon's talking about buying in bulk and that they could save a lot of money if they buy in bulk. And recommends that she buys her feminine products in bulk. And I felt like this could be an IQ moment, but at the same time, I'm like, I can't really speak for feminine products. So instead of saying that, I'm going to say it's probably not valuable to buy in bulk because it's probably similar to toilet paper. And I like trying out different toilet papers. And have I bought all my toilet paper for my whole life when I was in high school, I never would have learned about bidets. And I love
So you
bidets.
so you don't even use toilet paper then.
You always need a little toilet paper for emergencies, but I use a lot less. And I tell you, the toilet paper shortage scared me a lot less than it scared everybody else.
Oh my god, that toilet paper shortage scared the shit out of me. It wasn't because I partitioned perfect amount for my wife and I, and then I found out that my brother-in-law, his school just instantly just shut down. And he
Oh
didn't
no.
have the money to fly home, but he was close enough to us. So it's like so we took on him and his girlfriend for like 4 weeks, and that's when I started to panic. I was like, "Oh my god, I only partitioned for two people. Now I have two extras. Like, what do we do?"
There's that in Scrubs where every single house guest has to bring a roll of toilet paper.
That's right. But I don't know. I believe in buying in bulk. Thus the Costco membership. There are certain things that I do wait for to go on sale. I don't just say buy in bulk just for the sake of it. I like to buy in bulk when there's a sale because it's like, well, if it's not going to go bad, you might as well. I'm gonna
Yeah.
need this at some point anyways. So that's why I don't really buy like a whole lot of like meats and produce at Costco. No, wait, that's a lie. I do because then I cryo vac it and freeze it. But then
Ah.
I mostly got it for the non-perishable items like toilet
Mhm.
paper, paper towels, and I've been
Garbage
really into baby
bags.
wipes lately.
Baby wipes. Those are the stepping stone between baby wipes and into the bidet. I'm like, if I like baby wipes, maybe I'm gonna like a bidet, and I did.
Baby wipes are amazing too. Flushable
Yes.
baby wipes are incredible.
And when you're on the go, having a backup supply of baby wipes, when you're used to a bidet, they make your day. If you don't have those, then it could be a bad day. Just gonna throw it out there. Or a bad
No
camping
bidet. Hey,
experience.
no bidet equals bad day.
No bidet, bad day. All right, so the next scene, they are back in the apartment, and Sheldon's doing fish experiments.
Yep, he's moved on because eggs are as good as they're gonna get.
They're as good as they're gonna get. Uh, which makes me
So,
wonder
side
if he,
question. I was gonna say, side question. I think he was only doing scrambled eggs. Like, how do you like your eggs?
I usually do scrambled just because of the easiness. But if somebody else is making them and I trust the person, sunny side up.
Sunny side up is really hard because, like, I feel like most places, whenever I go to like a cafe or like a little diner or something like that, they always leave the white underdone, and it drives
Yeah.
me crazy. It's like, ugh, you gotta
Or they
spread
burn the
the
bottom. The
white out.
top's done, but the bottom's burned.
It's funny because like an over easy egg, or not over easy, a sunny side up egg is so easy. It's easier to me. It's easier than scrambled because to me, I think most people overcook their scrambled eggs. I think they
Mm-hmm.
overcook it and it turns rubbery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give her a shout out. My wife makes the best scrambled eggs. She does it this it's what she says is the French method where it's very high heat, but the skillet is tilted. So then you just slowly shuffle it from the hot to the cold area. So it
Oh.
cooks at a high heat, and then you're just slowly, just patiently, just shoving it over, and it comes out so custardy and velvety. It's like incredible. If you ever come visit, we'll definitely make you those scrambled eggs.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it now. How do
But
you
yeah,
like your eggs?
I think it depends on the situation. I think if I'm having the egg with some sort of hash, like a potato or corned beef or something, I like it over easy. Just
Mm,
because I like the egg white cooked all the way, and I like the yolk just kind of slightly cooked because I like
mm.
it to be a little runny. If I'm
Lordy.
just eating eggs, I like it just scrambled. If it's just eggs only, but like I said, if it's with something, I like it over easy or over medium. But again,
Part of the
nobody does
reason.
over medium right either.
Why are eggs so
Am I
confusing?
am I just an as I hear myself talk out loud, it's like fuck, I'm an egg snob.
Part of the reason I like Sunny Side Up is that just the name, like saying it, makes me feel better about my day. Like, what type of day are you gonna have? Sunny Side Day, bidet
Yeah, that's
day.
nice.
It's gonna be optimistic.
Yeah.
I hate the fucking egg, but it makes me feel better. No, I do like the egg too.
And then
Just
I go on the bidet day.
bidet day, Sunny Side bidet. So he's doing the fish experiments, and the notion is that Japanese scientists have been messing around with DNA, and so he's hoping to take DNA from bioluminescent jellyfish and make fish glow in the dark. And I did a little research on this, mostly from a place called Lat's Laboratory, but basically, these jellyfish do exist. Quite a few different life forms with bioluminescence exist. Um, what's the word? It's assumed that about 50% of jellyfish are actually bioluminescent. And we also get different life forms like bacteria. We get insects with glowworms and fireflies, lightning bugs, who all do this. And basically, it came down to a lot of it. We're still learning the chemistry behind, but there is this notion that there's a chemical called luciferin and luciferase. Basically, luciferin is an enzyme that causes luciferase to oxidate, and in doing so, it releases energy to create a cold luminescence, as opposed to a light bulb, which heats up to create the light. Um, And I thought this was really interesting because when we say Luciferin or Luciferus, Latin does come from Lucifer, like the devil, which translates to light bearing. And so Lucifer was the light bearing god, I guess, or angel, I guess, not god, but in this case, they are light bearing chemicals. But it got me thinking that in a place called Vieques, off the coast of Puerto Rico, there is an island with a place called Mosquito Bay, a lot of mosquitoes, but also called Bioluminescence Bay, where they have a huge amount of this small organisms, not bacteria, plankton maybe, that does light up, and you can go out in rowboats at night and put your hand in it, and it like all the water around your hand just glows. Beautiful, beautiful experience. But apparently, when Europeans came over, they thought it was the devil, and they tried to stop it. And to stop it, they blocked up some of the water inputs and didn't realize that they actually intensified the animal creating the light. So it became even more beautiful. And they're like, it's the devil. What did we do? So it's interesting that there is this connection between this cold glow and the devil. Um, but I also, oh yeah, found out that there are a few ways that animals use it, either for finding prey. Glowworms in New Zealand, Australia use it to attract insects because the insects think, oh, it's daylight, and they go up to the light, and then they get stuck in these tentacles and get devoured. They can use them for defense, to scare off predators. Jellyfish are usually that way. Or for communication, like lightning bugs that want to mate, and the brightest one gets the female or whatever it might be, or the spouse. And I also found that if you do like these, there is a website called Pyro Farms that lets you buy a bioluminescent life form, and you put it in water in a little jar, and you let it sit during the day, and at night you can shake it up and it will glow for you. However, I think it only gets like one or two shakes before they're out of chemicals, and that's all you get for the day. But I've been thinking about getting one of those because they are beautiful. So that's my research on bioluminescence because I love it. I think it's great. And Sheldon then says we should make glow in the dark tampons.
This is gonna make me. The moment you said that it related to Lucifer and the devil and like the illumination of it all, that's where it kind of came from. It just got me thinking like, oh, every time I play Harry Potter now and I go Lumos, I'm gonna be thinking
Luminous.
about that. I did a little bit of research on the actual experiments that Sheldon was referring to, that Japanese scientists inserted DNA from luminous jellyfish into other animals.
Yeah.
So I think the experiment that he was talking about was referring to one that was back in 2001, back in Japan. So the purpose of the experiment was to create a genetic highlighter. So this started because of the discovery of the green fluorescent protein, or GFP. So they were trying to use that DNA to highlight other pieces of DNA in other animals because they were hoping to kind of like be able to identify other issues with the humans if they could use that
Like cancer cells or
luminescent
something.
highlighter. Yeah, that they'd be able to highlight it. That's kind of where this all originated from. But
Oh.
sadly, it went to a whole lot of animal experimentation. So in 2001 in Japan, they were experimenting on mice, where they did successfully make glow in the dark mice. In May of 2000, France experimented on rabbits. They were trying to work on gene manipulation. In 2008, Taiwan worked on pigs. And the pigs, it was successful. The pigs had glowing eyes and skin all the way down into their organs.
It's kind of
2009,
terrifying.
Japan. Yeah. Japan worked on In 2009, Japan worked on monkeys, the exact same thing, gene manipulation. They were trying to see how hereditary it was from generation to generation. So they were they were seeing if the gene manipulation would pass to the second generation. So it was a huge to them it was a huge step towards understanding Parkinson's and motor neuron disease.
Sure.
In Again in 2009, Korea experimented on dogs. The experiment was meant to prove the principle of transgenic animals, particularly dogs, who, due to their lifespan and reproductive cycle, are good stand-ins for human disease research. 2011, US and Japan worked on cats. They made all these animals ended up like glowing in the dark because of being injected with this luminescent gene. But US and Japan, cats can contract a disease similar to HIV, apparently, and they injected them with the jellyfish DNA in order to mark those cells.
Mm.
In 2012, sheep were working on, but I couldn't figure out who did it. But they were experimenting by injecting them with the luminescent DNA to test out the procedure to create animals with super health boosting milk. So, like, yeah, a lot of animal experimentation. So Sheldon is just one of the many, apparently, that
I'm
are working
curious
on
with the sheep.
animals.
If we made the luminescent sheep, glow in the dark sheep, sheared them and made sweaters out of their wool, would the sweaters glow in the dark?
I think it was more of the skin
Ah, just the
that
skin.
was doing
Oh
it.
man.
Yeah,
Well, this
yeah.
is
Based
all.
off all the research, it's all for nothing.
It's
Yeah,
all for nothing. I want a
yeah.
glow in the dark sweater.
But apparently, all the animals, well, according to the article that I found, which was on, shoot, I didn't even write it down, but I found it on the internet.
Somewhere on the
um,
internet.
the majority of the animals, at least the ones that they reported on, did live healthy lives.
Huh. Did it get passed
But
down? Did they find out
it
if the genetics would pass down?
it was successful in the Korean experiment with dogs. They actually did pass it on.
Glow in the dark dogs. That would be adorable. Inhumane, but adorable. Alright,
All
so
right.
finally, scene 6, Shelly's mom comes in. Sheldon's mom comes in.
Ms. Lori Metcalf.
And Leonard and her, find Sheldon looming because apparently he was doing luminescence, luminescence, looming. So he started looming. And that, I would
Looming.
say,
Yeah.
is a point for Sheldon. I'm going to put one on the list. I get off on tangents like that. A little bit of ADD, ADHD,
I
and
thought you were going to tell me that you loom. I was like, oh, you
and I
loom.
loom. But only in the glow in dark textiles. So,
Well, side note, Laurie Metcalf is the actress that plays Mary Cooper, and she was also in Roseanne and The Connors with Johnny Galecki, who plays Leonard, and Leslie Winkle, who was played
you
by
know,
Sarah Gilbert.
she was one of my favorite characters in Roseanne too.
Never watched it.
Never
Sorry.
watched it. She was great. She was kind of hard headed like Roseanne, but also a little bit more down to earth, I would say, or maybe more a little bit kinder, I guess. Maybe that's too much for it, but yeah, I enjoyed her. Yeah, definitely a star in this show too.
Oh man, she stole this episode. Like, she is such a gem. I love Mary Cooper.
Yeah, it's great because she is definitely got an accent, a little bit of a country accent, and is very religious, and that comes up quite a few times. And mentions that Sheldon gets the science stuff from Jesus, right?
Yep.
Gets what was it? Eyes from the dad, looks from her, and science stuff from Jesus.
uh, Sheldon gets his temper from his dad, his
Oh,
eyes from his mom, and all the sciencey stuff. Well, that's from Jesus.
that's from Jesus. So yeah, apparently the rest of his family is not like that, and she says later too that God only gives you what you can handle, which is great because his other siblings are dumb as a box of rocks or something. They are
Yeah.
not very bright. We haven't met them yet, so I'm looking forward to them coming on the show to see what they're like. Hopefully, they do come on the show.
Well, I won't spoil anything for you.
Won't spoil it, but yeah. So that's my prediction is that they will come on the show and we get to compare them a little bit. Now they're having dinner with the family, and Sheldon's in his room, and his mom's making chicken. I love the line. She mentions that he fell out at Kmart.
Yeah, remember Kmart, everyone? Are those even still around?
I don't think so. I haven't seen one in so long.
Well, Kmart is, if it's not around for anybody that's interested, Kmart is God, what would you even call it? It's a department store, very
Department
similar
store.
to like TJ Maxx.
I'd say it's like Target or Walmart to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
didn't like I remember growing up around one, but it closed by the time I was in like middle school. So I haven't actually seen one since.
I worked at one when I was starting off in college.
Okay, so they are still around somewhere.
That was still like almost 15, 20 years ago, so it's been a while. But they were. Um, and
Oh, I
it
think
had a
they're
little.
still around. I just found the website.
They still exist.
They still exist, everyone.
But where? It's kind of like Blockbuster. There's one left, and it's like in Bend, Oregon. But technically, it still exists.
And then Howard flirts with Sheldon's mom.
Oh, I love that too because she laughs it off and says, he doesn't have a chance. It won't work, but keep trying. Right? Like, don't stop. Don't
Every
give up.
everybody enjoys a little flattery.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. And here's another thing with Raj in this episode is that she hopes that Raj's people don't think chicken is magic.
Yeah, it's a little ass backwards the way she said it, but I actually thought that it was actually really nice of her to check in with him on his dietary restrictions, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't do. So I thought it was
Yeah.
actually really nice of her.
It was
Even
well intended.
yeah, because like everybody, if you ever host a dinner party or if you have friends over or even if you're going on a date, check in with their dietary restrictions. These days there's a lot of allergies, there's a lot of different like diets. If you're vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, it never hurts to just ask, and people are usually pretty open about talking about it because it's
Hmm.
good to know. Like you don't want to give somebody like something that they're allergic to.
It's happened. I've given people like a cookie that apparently had nuts ground up into it, and they were allergic to nuts. And we didn't realize it on small print on the packaging says does contain nuts. And they started breaking out. I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. They were fine, but it was still something that I didn't check in on, and I didn't check the food. So it was, yeah,
Well,
I
I
felt
also feel like it's
terrible
up to the responsibility of the person with the allergy too, to an
to some
extent.
extent. Yeah. And at
Yeah,
the same time, this thing,
if
small
you're
print is
deathly
really small.
if you're deathly allergic to something, or if it's really going to put you in the hospital, check in. Just let everybody know. It's like, hey, is there peanuts in this? Hey, what's in this? Hey, what's like, how is this made? It's like,
I don't
it's
want to
all
die
good.
today. Does this have
Yeah.
nuts? So
Well,
yeah.
this got me into a spiral about what other animals are worshipped or are considered sacred. So yeah, it got me wondering. I was like, well, what other animals are considered sacred? Because she mentioned chicken. Like, does anybody classify chicken as sacred? Well, based on the research, no.
No.
But
Chickens are terrible creatures.
so I found a website, which oh god, did I not put where I? God, I did a terrible job with my references this time. My bibliography is fucked right now.
Oh
But I found
no.
this. I'll just say I found this on the internet.
On the internet. Prime
Yeah.
source.
So cows. The cow is regarded as a holy animal in religions like Hinduism. I'm gonna butcher this. Jainism and Zoroastrianism. Snakes, serpent deities have an important place in Indian cultures. During Nag Pancham, Hindus worship serpent deities and offer their prayers and warm milk. Tigers. According to Korean folklore, the tiger is regarded as the guardian of the West and a divine spirit. They symbolize power and courage and are believed to ward off evil and bring about good luck. Sorry, I just took a screenshot, so I'm going to make it a little bigger so I can actually read it, so I don't have to squint. Uh, Dogs also worship during the Kukar Tihar festival in few parts of Nepal. In Hindu culture, Lord Dattatreya is depicted with 4 dogs, and these dogs represent the 4 Vedas: Rig, Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda. I didn't research what any of that is, so I'm just going to move on to elephant. All over southern India, the majestic elephants are worshipped in the temples. The Hindu mythology even has a deity called Ganesha, the elephant god. All right, 4 more. Goat. The goat is one of the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac, and the goat has been worshipped also in Greek and Egyptian mythology. Pigs. The people of ancient Egypt regarded pigs as sacred and as an important deity. Their deity appeared as a pig with erect bristles who kept an eye on storms, chaos, deserts, and darkness. Cats. The people of ancient Egypt were especially known for cat worshipping. The cat's ability to control snakes and vermin made them a symbol of poise and grace. And the last one is monkeys. In Hinduism, monkeys are regarded as culturally significant. The highly revered monkey god, Hanuman, is widely worshipped throughout India. So, a lot of these are derived from Hinduism.
Do any of them glow in the dark?
I'm sure they do.
I think I would have trouble eating an animal that was glowing on my plate. I'd be like, no.
God, imagine a piece of chicken better. Or your egg. Imagine if you're, green eggs and ham.
There you go, yeah. It wasn't just the color green, it was bioluminescent green. It was like a radioactive green. Raj just shakes his head no. He doesn't even know how to respond to that. She's like, you people don't consider that, or you can eat that, right? And he's like, do I find this racist? Do I find a problem with it? Do I find it silly? He just shakes his head. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want to open up a can of worms or do go into a big thing with someone that he just met that he can't even vocalize to.
But also, she's a woman and he can't talk to pretty women, so maybe that's part of it too.
Yep, maybe he's attracted to Mary too.
Yeah, why not? She's nice looking. She's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where around I picked up that she started calling Sheldon Shelley, and so my notes have Sheldon or Shelley from here on out. Oh, and she gets into the story about him building a nuclear arm in his shed and having a nice gentleman from the government coming over to explain that you are not allowed to have yellow cake uranium in a shed out back. And he gets mad and he deals with his anger by trying to build a death ray.
Yep. First warning signs of a sociopath, right? Trying to kill the neighborhood kids, and she even said that he used it on the dog. It made the dog angry. It's what the hell?
I didn't know if he used it on the dog or if it was just a side effect. Maybe it produced a noise that was just too much for the dog. But it didn't work on the neighborhood kids, who eventually did kick his butt anyway, so...
Speaking of dogs, I can hear my dog going crazy. I don't know if you can hear that.
A little bit. Yeah. Excited.
I will not use a death ray on my dog. Don't worry.
Don't use the death ray, no matter how crazy they get, how loud they get. And this is the only part, too, where Leonard and Penny are mentioned as a couple, because she says, oh, you guys make a cute couple. And it's kind of an awkward moment. Penny doesn't really say anything, but Leonard's like, oh, blah, 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 and gives up, right?
Yep. Mary knew that she struck a chord with that one.
Yep. Did I strike a chord with that one? And so it also begs the question if Penny knows, and I think she definitely knows at this point. She's got to know, but remaining friendly. Yeah, and then she looks at Howard and Raj and says, I'm going to say a prayer, but you guys can just do your own thing, right?
I thought that was very progressive of her. For as religious as she is, most people aren't that open to it. So I thought it was like, wow, that's very progressive of you, Mary.
Respecting others' point of views. Probably growing up with Sheldon, she's had to learn to be respectful like that, probably.
Yeah.
But I love it because she holds Howard's hand, and Howard looks over and grabs Raj's hand, like, "You're going in this with me, buddy." I'm
If I'm
dragging you
doing this, you're
down.
coming down with me.
And, then Sheldon kind of peeks his head out, and his mom's like, oh, he's like a baby deer. You got to let him do his own thing. And he looks around with those bright, bushy eyes, like, is anybody going to get me? And gets his cobbler, right? And Leonard's like, you should just come sit down and get your job back. And he runs back in his room. And Sheldon's mom says, you don't hunt, do you?
He scared the little deer
He
away.
scared the deer away, which is probably something I would have done too.
Well, I got into this a little bit more food related things. So
Food.
they had a cobbler, and Penny is so taken aback by how delicious it is. And she asked what the secret ingredient was. And oh no, Mary says, "Want to know what the secret ingredient is?" And Penny asks, "Love," which it usually is. A little pinch of love never hurts. But the secret ingredient is lard.
Lard.
So I looked into the utilizations of lard in cooking.
And how
So
tasty it is.
and how absolutely delicious it is. So first we need to ask ourselves, what is the difference between lard, butter, shortening, and margarine? Because those are the different fats that you can use. So butter is fat that is made from cream that's been churned into a solid state, typically about 80% fat and 20% milk solids or water. Margarine was invented in the 1860s as a butter substitute. This is created when hydrogen is added into vegetable oil. This is usually heavily diluted and can be around 35% fat. And remember, everyone, fat is flavor. So that means margarine sucks.
Fat is flavor.
Lard. Lard is made from raw or rendered pig fat. But don't worry, it doesn't taste like pork. But this is straight up 100% fat. Then the last one is shortening. Shortening, commonly associated with Crisco, is when oils like soybean, cottonseed, or palm are hydrogenated. So when the hydrogen is added to it. So they stay a semi-solid at room temperature. So like lard, shortening is 100% fat. So knowing what they are, how do you utilize this? And how did Mary know that lard is the best in a cobbler? So depending on which fat you choose, it will change the flavor and the texture of the recipe. So if you use butter, butter is a great all-around fat. You use this when you want the butter flavor. It might not give the best texture, but butter is a great choice when in doubt because it's just going to give a great butter flavor. And it's still a high content of fat. Then margarine is good for nothing. Don't use margarine. Fuck margarine.
Fuck margarine.
Due
Lesson of
to
the
the
day.
due to due to the high moisture content, it lacks flavor, so it makes your product kind of just suck. So just don't use it. So then there's shortening. Shortening, again, just like lard, is 100% fat. So shortening is great for tender cakes and flaky pie crust. Shortening is essentially flavorless in small quantities. And it's also really good. It creates tender and flaky like crusts because it's mostly due to the high melting point of shortening. It allows the recipe to cook longer and build more texture. But it's not great for cookies because it's going to create more of a cake-like texture. And that leads us into lard. Lard has all the same qualities as shortening, but it has less fake flavor. Fake in quotations because shortening is man-made. So it does make it superior, lard, that is. And lard also has a lower melting point, so you could use it in cookies and it'll spread great. So Mary knows what's up in terms of baking.
Any ideas of which one's the most unhealthy?
The most unhealthy is lard
Lard.
because it's straight up like 100% fat, whereas The shortening actually does, it is 100% fat, but the fat is derived from other places, I was saying like palm oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil. It's derived from those, where animal fat is a lot worse for you.
Hmm.
So lard is the worst, but it's also the best at the same time.
It's the most delicious. And when you want to enjoy yourself and enjoy a meal, then you know what you're going with, you know? Everything in moderation.
Moderation. Yep.
So give me all that lard.
Yeah.
And the next morning, Shelly's mom comes in, and Shelly is playing with his DNA set and is building a life form. He imagines what it would look like, the DNA of a life form that is silicone based. Did you do any research on this? This blows my mind. I get over my head on this.
Yeah, this was unfood related, so I didn't care.
Apparently, according to space.com, there is research being done, and it potentially could be possible to make a silicon based life form. Basically, the building stone is not carbon like we're used to. Everything on this planet is carbon based. I really have no idea what this would mean for the creation of a entity, but Star Trek apparently thought this out and had a creature named the Horta. And I looked up pictures of it, and it looks kind of like this gelatinous blob with rocks on it that walks, doesn't walk, it kind of slides around and eats rocks.
I'm looking it up right now.
Look it up. It's like a blob with
Oh my.
right?
The fuck?
So it goes without saying that a silicon life form would probably look quite a bit different than us. In Star Trek, it was sentient, it was self aware, but probably doesn't live quite like we do, and does different things. In this case, it eats rocks, so has a different diet as well. It probably does not enjoy a good old fashioned lard pie like we do,
Or bagels.
or bagels, or cronuts.
Cronut.
I tell you, these silicon life forms these days do not know what they're missing.
Yeah, I'd hate to read their Yelp.com.
Yeah.
This
Stupid
rock's
rocks.
good. This rock sucks.
This rock tastes like food. It tastes good. So Shelly is talked into going to apologize, and his mom mentions that it's okay to be smarter than everybody. You just can't point it out. That's why the neighbor kids kicked your ass so much.
Sound advice.
They wouldn't have kicked my ass had the death ray worked. He probably would have been charged with murder, but yeah, whatever.
But he would have won. This got me into some great. Her great advice reminded me of this book that I think everybody needs to read. It's this classic book. I forgot when it was from, but it's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence Others. It kind of just talks about like how you can just learn to read people, and what you say impacts other people. It's a really good read, and I think it's good for anyone just to kind of learn how to interact with others. And it really teaches you how to get what you want out of other people too.
Which is kind of, what's the word? Villainous, it seems, but at the same time,
It's a little manipulative. It can be, but at the same time, it's just really sound advice. It's just like what Mary said. It's okay to be smarter than everyone, but you can't go pointing it out because nobody likes that.
You have to work with other people, and to live in a harmonious environment, you have to learn how to get everybody to get what they want or to be satisfied to some extent. And that takes manipulation to some extent. Learning to read people, part of Asperger's or autism or the spectrum is being unable to read body language. So this is something that I've always been terrible with reading body language. In fact, I'm going to do another +1 for Sheldon there. And by the way, if you don't know why I'm telling, I am keeping track if I'm more like Sheldon or more like Penny through the series. Or by Penny, other people outside the apartment of Sheldon.
Let's just say normal human beings.
Normal human beings. But yeah, I've always had struggles reading body language, knowing when people are bored when I'm rambling, or knowing when people are irritated or they want to leave or whatever, I'm just like, whatever. So a book like that would probably be very helpful to me and Sheldon.
It's available in audiobook if anyone's interested. Go to your
Love
local library.
audiobooks. In fact, I'm going to write that down right now. How
Yeah,
to.
if anybody's not utilizing their local library, it has a ton of great stuff, books and audiobooks, and it's free. So please take advantage of your local library.
I feel like people don't know what libraries offer. Like, you can get music CDs there, you can get movies there, like new movies. You can get books, you can do download ebooks, download audio files, audiobooks, and for free. It's awesome.
Libraries are great, and we're technically already paying for it because of our tax dollars.
Exactly. It's going to be
So
there if you want it or
utilize it.
not, so use
Yeah.
it, right? All right, so they getting in
Oh,
towards
I was
the.
gonna say,
Oh, one more,
I was
yeah.
gonna say, what one thing that I love is when Mary snaps and like just says, "Sheldon, enough. I'm done fishing." I'm wondering if she used that metaphor because this is the luminous fish effect.
I like that. I'm done fishing. It's a fish
Yeah, she's
episode.
done fishing. You can only fish for so long before you throw a stick of dynamite in the water.
I
Yeah, I wasn't
get
sure
it
if they
that
did
she's
that on
hunted,
purpose. Yeah,
but it
yeah,
works. It works very well, right?
yeah. She knows her son very well. Like, and she has this great quote that says, "We you mentioned this earlier about the other kids. The Lord never gives us more than we can handle. Thankfully, He blessed me with two other children that are dumb soup."
I'm really curious to see them because it may very well be that they come in and they are like Penny or just like a typical person, and like everybody, all the audience members are going to be like, they aren't dumb at all, right? Or they
Yeah.
could come in and they could be completely off the wall. But I'm not sure what to expect. But I'm really hoping that they do come in because there's a lot that can be done with this.
Yep.
So they go to Gablehouser's office, and Shelley is forced to apologize by his mom, and he gives like this half-ass apology. He's like, "I'm sorry for pointing out you're an idiot." Right? Like, not sorry that he said it or sorry that he offended him, but sorry that he said it to his face. Which is apparently enough because Gablehauser starts flirting with the mom, and his mom's like, his dad's dead, and Gablehouser's like, oh, how long? She's like, long enough.
God, she is so thirsty for some Gablehauser.
And good for her, good for him. Everybody should
Yeah,
be
good for
thirsty
both of
once in a
them. You
while.
know what?
Yeah.
Why not? If they're both single, it's consensual. It's all good.
And Gablehauser says, Sheldon, shouldn't you be working? And Sheldon's just confused as can be and walks out. And Leonard's like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. Something that has eluded me.
What I'm wondering is, we know that Sheldon has been out of work for 3 weeks. Is his office still there? Because I know historically in any office, the moment somebody's desk space is gone, the other employees are vultures.
It's
They will
consumed.
snatch on that shit. If you have a nice office, that shit's gone in like a day. Not even a day. Like some people will give like a 4 hour grace period or something like that. It's like, nope, mine.
Mine. No, I've been that person too. I usually have shared spaces, and somebody has like a spot by the window, and as soon as they leave, they retire or switch jobs. I'm the first to just spin my seat around and put my stuff on their desk. I'm like, mine.
That's mine.
I'm like, I'm an important person now. No more working in the corner.
Yeah, we're all trying to play dibs at work. We're doing some like rearranging and reshuffling because of some construction, and I heard one office was going to become vacant, so I was like, "That's mine, mine, that's mine." But then they ended up not moving us at all. So,
Aw. And we're finally at the last scene where the mom's tucking Shelly in, and Shelly goes, "Is Gable Hauser going to be my new daddy now?" She's like, "Well, he might be. We'll see." And then he turns over and he has the glowing fish. He made it work. Fish
the
night
end.
light. The end. I'd have to say I would buy a fish nightlight if they existed.
Oh, for sure.
Right? That'd
Oh
be
my god.
awesome.
That would be so cool. Oh. So what'd you think? End of episode
I
4.
I like that episode. I thought there was a lot there, and this episode went over, but there was just a lot to talk about, and I felt like they talked fast and kept throwing information out, and so a lot to pick up on, and a lot of great character development. And like I said before, Penny and Leonard weren't necessarily the focus, so I get to look forward to hopefully Sheldon's siblings, Sheldon's mom coming back in, and a little bit more Howard and Raj. I'm interested in their characters picking up too.
Yeah, it was good that you got to see like a Sheldon centric episode, but you didn't leave behind any of the other characters. They still had their moment to shine. Everybody had like a really good moment.
Yeah,
The introduction of Mary Cooper is amazing.
it's great. She did great. Yeah,
Yeah.
this might be my favorite episode so far. And
All
I haven't
right.
started watching. Usually I watch the intro to the next episode, but I didn't do that this time. But I did see that the grasshopper episode. I know you mentioned grasshoppers. Is coming up. It's like episode 8, and I
It's
think
coming up soon. Yeah.
we should make
Make some
grasshoppers
grasshoppers.
for that episode. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
So I've been looking up some recipes. I'll share them with you because we
Yes,
can do something
please
good.
do. Oh man. Done and done. So what's your tally at
Right now, we got 2 points for Sheldon this episode. It's
Oh
4
dang.
to 2.
You're turning into a Sheldon.
Yeah, little by little.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's got to pick up the other way, right? It's got.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you got to learn a little bit of something, hopefully. Please leave us a review. We are on Spotify, Apple, and Stitcher, and email us. Our inbox is a little lonely, so email us at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. We'll see you next time when we talk about Season 1, Episode 5, The Hamburger Postulate. Thanks,
See
everyone.
you then. Bye.
This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch along. No PhD necessary. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Grohl. Please remember to leave us a review on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Stitcher, or send us an email at theoretical. Cronuts.
Cronuts. All cronuts all the time.